Michael, thank you very much for your time this evening. We really missed you here in Ghana. How is Manchester?
Well, Manchester is bubbling at the moment. We have two new managers here, Pep Guardiola and Jose Mourinho. We think there's a big competition between the two of them just about to start. So it's very exciting. The city is buzzing, and we're waiting for the weekend to start to see who's going to get ahead of the game. So it's the place to be, Manchester.
All right. So bring us up to date in the various clubs, the accounts. What is really their preparation like going into the games tomorrow? We are kicking start there. British Premier League. We hear now there is no Barclays on it. Give us more insight into the APL as a kickstart tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow we as you know, there's most of the games are on Saturday. We have a few games Sunday and a few games Monday. Hull City, who have not got a manager since Steve Bruce resigned, are playing the Premier League champions Leicester City at home. It's going to be an exciting encounter. You know, Leicester City are still flying high. They've only lost one player, Kante. It's going to be a miss, but you know, they've made some very, very shrewd signings. So you know, Leicester City, they've invested. You know, they're going to be relying on Vardy, Mahrez, Danny Drinkwater, Wes Morgan, but they signed shrewdly, in particular Ahmed Musa from CSKA Moscow. So I think Leicester will be looking to take a win tomorrow against Hull. And then we have Burnley, Swansea, of course. Swansea without our Ghanaian colleague Andre Ayew, who's joined West Ham. 20.5 million. Congrats to Andre Ayew. Well done. But Swansea, they're a new side. Gomez has gone out on loan. It's a new setup there. Burnley back into the Premier League, so that should be an interesting game. Interesting game. Crystal Palace with Kwesi Appiah against West Brom. You'd be expecting for Crystal Palace to take that one at home. Everton and Spurs, exciting game. Ronald Koeman in charge for the first time. Spurs, they've not invested heavily. Just made one signing with Wanyama, £11 million. So that could end up in a draw. Middlesbrough, the first game, and it's looking like Ghanaian Albert Adamoah will make his debut tomorrow at home to Stoke City, who will, in their ranks, Stoke Joe Allen. Stoke have made quite a few signings. Middlesbrough will be looking to take 3 points from that. And then Southampton, Watford, and then we got Man City and Sunderland. Man City, they spent 160 million, the highest Premier League in transfers. You know, they've got De Bruyne, they've got Silva, they've got Aguero, but now also they have Gundogan, 20 million, John Stones, 47 million, defender, Marlos Marino, nearly 5 million, Gabriel Jesus, 27 million, Leroy Sané, 37 million, Zinchenko, we don't know how much they pay for him, and Nolito, nearly 14 million. It's going to stop Man City this year. Sunderland have offloaded a lot of Man United players who haven't quite made the grade, and they've made some loan signings. David Moyes, new manager, not done so well in his last two jobs for him to replace Sam Allardyce. Bournemouth and Man United. Well, Man United, 120 million they've spent in transfers. Paul Pogba, nearly 90 million. Pogba making his debut tomorrow due to suspension. And then we have Mkhitaryan from Borussia Dortmund, Ibrahimovic, who's already made his mark for United, and Eric Bailey, 30 million signing, and Rashford and Rooney, what they're going to do tomorrow. So Man United, 120 million plus in the transfer market. The best game over the weekend is Arsenal-Liverpool. What a game that's going to be. But what's happening at Arsenal? Only 2 signings to date. Rob Holding from my next team, Bolton Wanderers, 2 million. A great player, but is he going to add value to the Arsenal setup? And Granit Xhaka, 35 million, their biggest signing from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Let's hope he's going to make an impact. But I believe this season, players like Theo Walcott, who I was very disappointed he didn't make the Euro team. I think this year he's going to have a great season, Theo Walcott, for Arsenal. Cazorla, Sanchez, Zaki and Ozil. You know, will Arsenal put a challenge in this year? That's the big question. And then the last game, the London Derby, Chelsea and West Ham. What a game that's going to be. Chelsea, they've spent nearly 63 million. They've taken Kante from Leicester. You know, he's going to be the engine in their midfield. They've taken back Shuley, 33 million. On top of that, we've got Hazard, you know, also looking to make a mark this season. With Victor Moses and Costa. What what's he going to do this year? You know, and what's his discipline going to be like? Is he going to get 20, 30 goals? What Chelsea need? And the other question is Abramovich and Terry. You know, they're getting old now. Are they still going to be selected? Will Antonio Conte start to make some drastic change at Chelsea? And West Ham, Andre Ayew making his debut for West Ham over the weekend. 20.5 million signing. That's going to be a great game. So that sets the scene for the weekend, Kweku.
Wonderful. So Paul Pogba is in. Which players are you expecting to make a significant impact in the BPL this very season? And we hear Paul Pogba is not going to feature for Manchester United. Any reasons attached to that?
Yeah, he's not going to play, unfortunately, tomorrow. The game's at Bournemouth. He's suspended due to his two bookings with Juventus, which he's carried over. So it's unfortunate for Paul. But remember, Paul's already had a stint at United. You know, he was there as a youth team player and a young player, and they sold him for peanuts. And they bought him back for a huge amount of money, 90 million. They should have hung on to him. But anyway, I think he'll make a difference. He's not going to play tomorrow, but I think United must take 3 points. But the talk of the city is Mourinho versus Guardiola versus Jose. That is the talk of the town at the moment. Who's going to get the upper arm? Will it be Pep or will it be Jose? You know, all remains to be seen. It's very, very exciting here in Manchester.
So what are the panel talking about? Who are they tipping to win the EPL as we are about to kickstart petty analysis and everything? Who are the panel tipping to win the EPL?
Well, according to the pundits, and you know, if you look at the BBC Sport website, there's been some, I think about 40 of the top pundits in the UK asking for their view, and I'll add my view to that. And if you look at the money spent, Man City, 160 million on top of what they've already got, and I'm sure Pep Guardiola will be looking at his squad. He'll be looking at what he's going to keep, and he'll be looking at what he's going to offload. And I'm sure there'll be more dealings in the January transfer window. On the face of it, you've got to really go where the money's been spent. And we're thinking here that Manchester City are the favourites to win the English Premier League this coming season.
Fantastic. Let's quickly, let me take you quickly into when England picked their new manager in the person of the big Sam Allardyce. At Bolton, I'm very sure you know him. You are a former Bolton Wanderers player. I think you know a bit about him. How well do you know Sam Allardyce and what impact is he going to make in the Trey Lions team?
Well, you know, Sam Allardyce is his own man. You know, when I was a young apprentice player there, he was in the first team, big centre half, 6'3", powerful in the air. You know, a very, very good player. So he's proved himself not only as a good player, he went on to play for numerous clubs, but also as a very good manager. And I think what Sam will bring to the camp is his own view on things. The problem with England, I believe, the three lions, is that, you know, there's been so much interference with pundits, ex-international players who have been great and respected in their own right, but will never ever become managers. And I think Sam will do it his own way. You know, he has his own team, he has his own backup, so you're going to get a new approach to managing the England team. And I'm sure there'll be changes to the team. You know, question marks, so for example, over Joe Hart, the goalkeeper. You know, is he number one goalkeeper in England? You know, and all of a sudden, as a nation, we're starting to question him. And clearly there'll be other players under threat. So I think what you'll see is with Sam Allardyce, and I'd be expected for him to bring in not only youth but experience, whereas Hodgson brought in youth, which was great, but unfortunately we all saw in the championships they weren't up to it. So I'd be expected to see players like Walcott, who I rate very, very highly, and Danny Drinkwater from Leicester City, you know, just as an example to come into that team. And you know, he's going to put a new change to the way the England team is to be managed. Whether he's successful or not remains to be seen. But he's given up the job at Sunderland. He did a great job there, and he's gone into the England team. He always wanted to be the England manager. He's an Englishman. He's proud of it. I'm sure he'll try his best to move the team forward.
Right. Finally, is there any news making the waves in the English media that you want to share with our listeners here in Ghana? We have a space for you to share that very important news that is going on in respect of sports in the English media, or in respect to the BPL for us, before you take leave of us.
Yeah, I think, the English Premier League is going to be, it's not all about football teams this year, it's about personalities. Let's have a look at what's happening. We've got Guardiola, we've got Mourinho, we've got Antonio Conte, all new managers coming into the frame. Arsene Wenger, we've got Pochettino and Jurgen Klopp, all looking to make their mark this year. And if we look at the Ghana impact in the English Premier League, it's high. We've got Andre Ayew, 20.5 million. That's great for Ghana. It's great for Andre. Didi Ayew, a quality player, now being given the opportunity with West Ham in London, moving from Wales into London into England. We've got Albert Adamoah going to make his mark for Middlesbrough tomorrow against Stoke City. We've got Daniel Amati and Jeff Slupp still at Leicester, looking to recreate what they did last year. Let's not forget Leicester this year. They're still there and they've added quality to their side. And then we've got Kwesi Appiah, Crystal Palace. So I think the Ghanaian players in the Premier League this season are going to have a big say in who does what.
Michael, we are privileged as always having you as the VPR's kickstart. We'll be talking every Friday to give our listeners few updates about the VPR coming off every weekend. So we are most grateful for your time this evening. Hope to speak to you again.
All the best to your listeners. All the best to Ghana. Thank you very much, Kwesi. Good night. God bless.
All right, bless you too, Michael Porter, your former Baltimore Wanderers player or your sports pundit, Kese Papa. The sporting parts and